things are still going on, and I'm still tired, I'm still anxious at times, so.
Okay. When does the anxiety take over?
I would say when, my husband's just not around a lot and stuff, and I have all these things to do, and I have the baby to take care of, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just a lot. So I get very anxious because I have to take care of all these things, and I feel like sometimes I'm on my own.
Right. How have things been going with your husband now? Because he's been on night shift. I know this is something we've kind of been talking about through different sessions, but how has that been going?
It's a little bit better, but I mean, he's still, not really there, like, to do enough of the chores or help me out with the baby as much. So I just feel like a lot of it's on me.
Okay. Have you guys talked about it at all?
A little bit, but it's hard to talk to him, honestly, because he's gone a lot, so.
Have there been things that you've done to try to make that connection? Like, have you guys talked? I know we talked previously about maybe like setting a certain time or a day. Have you guys been doing that?
Yeah, I would say like once a week, so that's gotten a little bit better. I mean, we talk a little bit, but it's still the same old stuff, and I see a little change, but not much change, I mean, from last time, so.
Okay. Have you guys had any disagreements lately, or has that gotten a little better?
It's gotten a little bit better, but we still do have disagreements on just like the chores and stuff, like he doesn't pick up around the house, like, or help me with the dishes, or like, laundry, or what needs to be done. I feel like everything's just all on me, like I said, and I just don't feel appreciated.
Have you told him this?
A little bit, yeah, but it's hard to talk to him because he's always so busy at work and he's never here. So it's like I don't want to burden him with all this, stuff. So
Have you, can you think of a time that you did talk to him? Can you kind of tell me like how he responded to it?
yeah, I would say about a week ago, like we talked when he came home from work, and I told him, I feel overwhelmed and anxious because like there were so many dishes in the sink and stuff, and the baby was acting up, and it was just a very overwhelming day. I had a really bad day, and I tried to talk to him about it, and he was just like, I just came home from work, like I don't want to deal with this, and kind of became defensive, and so then we kind of got into a little argument over it. So a lot of times I just kind of stay quiet because I don't want him to argue with me about it and be defensive, but I feel like I get nowhere.
Now thinking back to that time, when did you realize that the anxiety was too much? I know you said you had a long day and it was just a bad day. When did you really notice that the anxiety was taking over?
I would say towards the end of the day when I knew he was coming home from work is when the anxiety was taking over, because I just had a really bad day. It was exhausting, like the baby was fussing a lot, and I had a lot of things to do, chores and everything, and then when he finally came in, it was just, I was hoping he could help me and stuff, but instead he just wanted to relax from his day at work and just kind of shut down, and I was hoping to talk to him about it, and when I talked to him about it, he was defensive, and that's when my anxiety came out.
So you were kind of predicting in the future, I already know this is how he's going to respond.
Right.
Can you think of a time in the past that you've approached him and it's gone a different way than you expected?
I would say, maybe 3 weeks ago, like, it was kind of similar, and he was in a better mood at the time, and he kind of talked to me and said, oh, well, I'll help you out and stuff, but that's far and few between. I mean, usually he's just very, very, like, down when he gets home from work and just wants to shut down and not even, like, deal with anything, and it's hard for me to talk to him about anything or approach him with, anything, so.
Yeah, what were you able to say, or what did you do that made him respond in a way that he was willing to help you that time?
Maybe I was just more asking him how his day was, and kind of, getting him to relax, asked him for, a cup of, if he wanted water or coffee or anything, when he got home, and, was prepping dinner and stuff, so maybe that helped, I would think, instead of these other times where it was just like I just had such a bad day that I just didn't even prep dinner, or, anything.
have these conversations before where the anxiety isn't taking over. So I kind of wanted to see like if there was a way that you think that if these situations come up again, you know, what do you think happens that the anxiety just kind of takes over you? Like, do you have any ideas of like why that would happen or?
A little bit. I mean, part of it is because I think just I get so overwhelmed with the baby, taking care of her all the time. She fusses a lot, needs a lot of my attention at home, and you know, I have all these chores to do all the time because he's constantly at work and never here, and I just feel like he doesn't help me a lot, and I just get really anxious and overwhelmed. I think because it's just so much to deal with daily, and then you know, I just kind of shut down because it's a lot to do, and he's just, I mean, he's my husband, and I don't understand why I know he works, but he doesn't really help a lot when it comes to conflict, so.
Yeah. So the last time, I know you said this was about a week ago, so I kind of want to like go back to the event, and I know we talked briefly about, you know, when the anxiety takes over, but I really want to kind of talk about like, dive more into, like you said, it was just a really bad day. So can you kind of think of like maybe in the beginning, like what you started doing, kind of go throughout, you know, what actual events happened and kind of how you were feeling during
Sure.
them?
Okay, so I woke up that morning and I woke up late. My husband got ready for work or whatever, but I usually prepare like coffee and stuff and breakfast for him when I can, but I woke up late, and so we kind of had a little disagreement about that because I ended up waking up too late and he was in a rush, you know, so we had a little tiff that morning, and that was really disappointing because, you know, it was the start of my day.
Right.
And then after that, the baby was hungry, so I fed the baby and kind of did, you know, chores here and there, but then I just started feeling like really tired and sleepy a lot, and the baby just kept on fussing and nothing was like making her happy, and I would try to, you know, play with her with toys, and just nothing was going right that day. I just had a really bad day. And then finally, like around 4 or 5 o'clock, I was trying to prep dinner, and you know, I dropped some things in the kitchen. I dropped my glass, and the glass shattered everywhere. And then I couldn't, you know, even get to the dinner prepping. Really, I didn't get to finish the dinner. By the time my husband came, like it was already like 7 o'clock at night, and I didn't finish anything. And then he came in and he was just like, what's going on? Like, you know, and I was telling him I was so overwhelmed. Yeah, because everything that happened that day was just a bad day in general. And he, you know, I was telling him that I needed help around here, and then he got upset, and that's when the conflict arose, because my anxiety was just up because of all the things that happened.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like it was a very stressful day.
Yeah.
And I know you kind of do these things on a daily basis.
Right.
So, like for instance, yesterday, did you have to do pretty much the same, kind of like the same series of events?
Right, I did.
How did it go yesterday?
Well, yesterday was a lot better because I got up earlier. You know, my alarm actually went off, and I got up earlier, and I, you know, prepared more, and I didn't drop things, and the baby wasn't as fussy, luckily, you know.
Yeah.
So, I just, you know, things were better yesterday, but just in particular that day was just very overwhelming. Like everything just seemed to go wrong and could go wrong.
Okay, because it sounds to me like you're able to still do these activities, and when things happen, it kind of sounds like you're able to adapt to them. Just on that particular day, obviously you had a lot going on, so
Yeah.
I do see that you're able to kind of overcome that, and that you are able to, you know, multitask and, you know, not multi-manage, but yeah, multitask.
Right.
And do all these things at once and still be able to, you know, keep the anxiety at bay. So I did want to point that out.
Thanks. I try my best, you know. It's just hard because there's just so much to do, and my husband, you know, is just always at work, and I just feel like I'm always, you know, by myself in a sense with the baby. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think that you could do, or would you want to try to do when the anxiety comes up in these situations? What do you think would help you?
I would say, you know, if my husband could kind of like help me when he's home a little bit, you know, and I've tried, like I said, talking to him, but he doesn't seem to want to do that. He just
discussion if we can kind of come up together. So like when you're at home and these things arise and the anxiety is really kind of wanting to take over, I'll think of some things too, and we can kind of maybe come up together about like maybe when these situations are happening, you know, what you can kind of do, like what kind of techniques or tools you can use to kind of keep the anxiety at bay. Because like we've kind of said, you know, you're able to get through these days and doing all these, you know, really strenuous and really tiring tasks.
Right.
But you know, what is it about certain days that, you know, they're fine and then other days the anxiety just takes over?
That's
So,
true.
does that sound like something that you
Yeah.
want to do?
Yeah.
And then I can, when we come back next week, I can kind of maybe come up with some ideas too, or
Okay.
even if you notice when the anxiety is taking over, just kind of like taking note of that, we can kind of talk about it next week.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
All right. Well, in the
Okay.
meantime, if you need me, you know where to find me. You have my number.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks.
Then.
But you were good. Like, I felt so comfortable.
Did you?
Yeah.
I felt like I was like so worried about